Oh, we are recording?
Oh, shit.
All right, so what do you
You're starting. It's not me to start.
It's what we're doing. Come and check it out. It's what we're all about. 561 Music.
Welcome to 561 Music. I'm Hector.
And I'm Ricky. Is that what I'm supposed to say? Supposed to say my full name?
Yeah. We need your social security
Ricky.
number and your credit card number.
It's been so long since I've done this. I'm out of practice. I don't necessarily know.
It has been long since you've been on here, man.
It's been since last year at least.
I mean, we're only like 30 days or something into the year, so it's not. Last year's not that far.
That was the joke.
Yeah, I didn't get it.
Wow. Ben's really steering this ship most of the time, huh?
100%. Oh, yeah. No, I'm totally out of my element.
No, Ben's not feeling well, so I came in last minute to be able to do this show. So, but I'm happy to be back.
Yep.
It's been a long time since I've been here, and I've seen that the show has not gotten much better. So
No,
so
not
that's
at all.
good.
Not even a little bit.
That's fine.
Yeah.
That's
and
fine.
with Ben not here, you had me sit in Ben's spot, but I'm kind of turning it over to you and letting you kind of steer the ship. So I'm just in a really awkward seat here where I'm just kind of
Yeah. And I told you, it's not like you were having trouble with the microphone and you kept moving. No, it's in the shoulders. You got to move the shoulders,
right.
not really the head, because you want to stay. You got to stay there,
rotate,
that kind of thing. So you'll figure it out eventually, and then next week you'll be back to this, and then it doesn't really make much of a difference. But
excellent. Should we introduce our guest now?
Sure. Yeah.
Isn't
there more preamble that's supposed to happen?
This
is a very professional show.
Yeah, we could stare at each other
tell.
awkwardly for another 2 minutes. I mean,
That's fine.
usually we talk about Kill Billy shows. We did play a festival.
I don't
weekend.
play in the Killbillies.
We played a festival this weekend, though. That was actually kind of fun.
How was that? It was the South Florida Folk Festival?
Folk and Acoustic Festival. Yeah, it was really fun. I was mentioning to you before the show, like, it was really fun, but everybody there was truly like an acoustic act of like one guitar and a banjo or something like that. And then we show up and we got the drum.
You're like Bob Dylan at the Newport Folk Festival.
I didn't even tell you this part. I was the only bass player there. And
that's not what I thought you were going to say.
I pulled out this, the upright bass and everything, and everybody was looking at me like I was crazy.
You were the only bass player there?
In the entire day. Like it's a 3-day festival. We played just Saturday, but but anybody that was there the Saturday.
It was basically all just
guitar,
mid
banjo.
to highs only. So the birds must have been losing their marbles the entire time.
Yeah.
Okay. That's interesting.
Yeah, it was interesting enough that the PA almost could not handle my bass. But it's fine. We had a nice chat with him about it.
With the PA?
We blew the doors off the place, and then I almost felt bad for the next person. They came up with just one little guitar and was like, sing it again.
Yeah, they must have been like, God damn it! Like seriously.
And it's funny because we've played festivals where we've played right after somebody that I think like, wow, they were really good. I hate that we're going after these people, but like, it was the opposite this time. I was like, I felt really bad for whoever went after us.
Yeah, well, especially because everybody was there with their spoons and their tin whistles and stuff like that. And then you came in there with a full arsenal worth of gear.
Oh, it was crazy.
Well,
it was crazy. It was fun.
All right, then.
All right, so today we have Rio Peterson.
Yo.
How you doing?
Rio, I've known for a while. Behind the scenes, real quick, pull back the curtain. I've been booking the guests for this show for a while.
Yes.
And Rio has been somebody that I've been bugging you guys about putting on this show for a long time. So finally, now that
now that you have the control of it.
I am in control. I am the captain now. So I don't know why Johnny Carson said that. So now I got Rio on, so I'm very excited. Rio is, I'm going to pretend like you're not here for a second. Rio is an actor on and off stage, singer, multi-instrumentalist, one of the more creative people I've ever met, and one hell of a singer as well. And I'm very excited to be able to finally get you on the show. I did not know I would be here interviewing you as well. So this is a bonus situation. But I'm very excited to be able to have you. I do want to know, was there like a moment where you had the aha that this is what you wanted to do for the rest of your life?
Well, when I was younger and first started taking lessons playing guitar, I think my mom was really influenced by the story Billy Joel usually says, where he was a kid and he wanted to go out and play with his friends, and his mom kind of forced him to play piano and stuff. So obviously she was like paying for the lessons too. So she was like, oh, I'm not going to let that money go to waste. So there were times where I'd be hanging out at the time, especially I was into skateboarding, just also all sorts of other stuff. But when she would force me to play, or like not force me, but want me to play and really pressure me to in that way, I never had a problem with it. Like anytime like I had to play guitar, I loved it and I was always really into it. So I don't know. I think that as well as like I spent when my dad lived up in New York at some point in my life, and I visited him for one summer. And there wasn't much to do. I didn't have much of my own stuff except for an acoustic guitar. So I spent like literally the summer between 8th and 9th grade where I had a whole like group of friends, and then suddenly I was just gone. And all I had was a guitar to kind of entertain myself. So I guess a mix of that as well as that summer where I think for those 2 months straight, all I was doing was like learning songs and playing stuff. If I remember correctly, that's when I learned how to like start finger picking and play like Stairway to Heaven, and started like even recording on GarageBand a little bit with like his laptop. Like I just kind of, it was like my main source of entertainment at that time.
Right. Were you writing? Did you start writing at that point in time, or were you just learning?
Because I listened to a lot of Eminem too when I was a kid.
Hell
Probably
yeah.
shouldn't have been able to listen to that, but like when I was
Marshall Mathers LP.
yeah, like that was the first, like the Slim Shady LP from what, like 97, 98 is like my favorite album in the world.
Marshall Mathers LP was the first record I ever bought with my own money.
Oh, that one's
Was it
great
really?
too.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I know. That's Marshall Mathers LP came out when you were
47.
I think so. Yeah, so about that time. I think you already had 2 kids at that point. In time.
At least 6.
But that's like lyricism and all that. I actually wrote like not raps, but just like lyrics before I even picked up a guitar. So I kind of like, I don't know, got into, as far as when I got more into songwriting specifically, was actually like after I finished high school and I got kicked out of FAU. I got
Kicked out of FAU.
Yeah,
huh?
I was in the dorms. I was in a summer program that was literally it was me proving to them that I wanted to like my grades were so bad and my FCAT score, FCAT was like the standardized test at the time. So my SATs, my standardized tests, all of my grades, everything was so bad that this was them like, well, we'll take your money, but you have to like
Audition, essentially.
audition for the college, right? So I was already kind of
all
on
the shitty
that.
prerequisite classes and everything like that.
Yeah, literally, and that was like right after high school. So like I go from graduation, even though it was an early graduation, it's like immediately June, July, I'm back in school, and that was already a turnoff. But anyway, I was already on like whatever. In a tread lightly kind of situation, right? So, and I started smoking a lot of weed at the time. So I was
Like you
just,
do.
yeah. Here we are, 15 or how many years later? I don't know how many.
So
years.
many things have changed.
Yeah. Turns out, deciding to pursue music and smoking a lot of weed was a questionable decision, but we'll see if it pays off for the next decade or so. So anyway,
They'll only know that when you die.
yeah, pretty much.
It's really how they quantify your life is how that'll go.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, I mean, when you die, all the creative stuff you do goes up in value.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're just essentially creating a Roth IRA for all of your creativity.
100%.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
For
I
the
mean,
people you leave behind.
I was
Not
thinking
for yourself.
Well, no, not for you. So you're dead.
Nick Drake, man. Nick Drake and Van Gogh and like countless artists didn't see like a
Didn't see any-
smidgen
yeah,
of their
exactly.
success before they and as far as before they died. So
Yeah.
that's kind of the main inspiration that I think. I was just like in Amsterdam earlier, or later last year, like September or so, and went to the museum and everything, and all of his stories just inspired me so much. I didn't know that a lot of his stuff was only in like the last 5 years of his life. He didn't start painting until he was like 30.
Yeah.
And then he passed away at like 35
And I
or
think
36 or something.
I think he only sold like one painting in his lifetime.
He was so broke that he had to have his brother pay for materials,
Yeah,
and like he had to basically like live. Yeah, he obviously went crazy towards the end of his life. I read on his Wikipedia, whatever, if the biography is accurate, who knows, right? But he
It's the internet. It's all real.
yeah, yeah, dude,
Every bit of
I
it.
was there, man. But he was straight up like not eating all the time and drinking insane amounts, just painting. So he was just like not eating, getting wasted, and making art. I mean, relatable, but it's also like, wow.
Yeah.
Of course, he would like. That's like a sign of, hey, take care of yourselves, people. Like your health is very important, as well as making art.
That's why you got to like write a bunch of stuff, release it all, and then fake your death, right?
Yeah, pretty
Is that
much.
what you're trying to do right now?
100%.
Also having a different alias for an investment in your own stuff, so you still make a profit.
Yes.
Yeah. I think right now, if you fake your death, it'll just be like a fart in the wind. Right now, you have to do more first. You can't fake your death this early.
Nah,
Yeah.
I don't
You have to
do
wait
that.
at least until, what are you? You're about 65 now, so You got a couple years. That
At least.
at least you can hold on.
Anyway, long story short, I was
yeah.
at FAU and I was a big pothead. Got my my roommate in the dorms we bought weed from some random person on one time. Smoked it at this spot at a kind of near a gas station that was literally for those few weeks I was there was totally chill, totally fine. We were told you can't smoke. If you get caught with shit on campus, you will get kicked out. So we were like, all right, let's go off campus, right? Anyway, there was one time where we had this bad, it was a bad Boca cops. You guys you don't have enough going on, basically. So,
I mean, it's Boca.
yeah, it's Boca. You know,
What are they doing?
You guys are
And
super
there's so
bored.
many of them.
Yes.
What do they do all day?
But they found us. They straight up. We were next to a gas station. They pulled into that gas station, shined a light on us, saying you'd think that would be the worst of it, right? We were like, oh, okay, they're telling us get the fuck out of here. Let's go back. That was a warning. We were assuming, all right, that was good. All of a sudden, we have 3 cops tailing us. We pull into the fucking campus, thinking, well, if they see that I was 18 at the time, right? We're dumb kids, literally dumb kids, and this one event single-handedly changed the entire course of my life as we know it right now, as I'm having this conversation with you guys right now. So, because I was going to go to college for theater, musical theater and stuff, and then I got kicked out, so pursued music instead. Anyway, but I went to the campus we're thinking the two of us being dumb kids, if they see we're in college, maybe they'll be
A little more lenient.
Yeah, maybe they'll be
let you guys go.
yeah, all right.
No, dumb college kids.
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
you'd think, right? So,
Not the case.
no, they immediately pulled it. My friend made a bad decision, made an illegal U-turn at one of those dotted yellow line things where it's just a divide for another street to turn onto, but there's literally a no U-turn sign on it or something.
Oh, that's good.
Anyway, he turned there. They had a reason to pull us over, and a buddy of mine had smoked weed with us a couple nights before and left a little 5 or 10 sack of weed in the back seat. They shined a light on that. And it was just this whole thing. It was the funniest thing is while we were getting arrested, all these kids were pulling into the college, just sketched out there where there were 3 cops with us, and it was over literally $5 or $10 worth of weed. It was the most insane
Which
thing.
now wouldn't have mattered.
They actually,
Right.
I see them advertise sponsored ads on Facebook and shit that they do weed botany growing classes now. There, I even commented on it, just dude, what
Can
the
you go
fuck?
back and be like, listen, can we do a redo here?
Can I get that money that
Yeah.
my mom and everything that was given to you guys? Can I get that back and put it towards that? No, but yeah, that was a crazy. That is why I am a musician now. And
Yeah.
have just that.
This is what you
story.
do for what you do now. So when you're younger, you play piano lessons. Between 8th and 9th grade, you go to New York. You get more acquainted with the guitar, this, that, and the other.
Piano I actually learned later. That was
later?
Yeah.
Yeah, you started
I only got into playing piano when my mom found a garbage, literally someone threw it on the side of the road piano that was out of tune, and it was but it was an upright piano. It had that oomph, that nice live piano sound. So it was, even though it was out of tune and sounded shitty, I used it and learned the patterns and just kind of I also had a MIDI control, a keyboard to plug into the computer, so I would mess around with that a lot. It was kind of piano was a secondary, just because of the theory, little bit of theory I knew from guitar, I kind of translated it. But
Yeah.
piano was definitely way later. Guitar was the only.
I thought it was piano first. So you go through this, and then you mentioned that you were going to FAU to do musical theater.
Mainly, yeah, acting, just straight. I don't think they even have a musical theater program there. It's just straight plays and acting on stage.
Just a
kind of.
theater program.
Yeah, improv. Stuff
I was having
too
a
as well.
conversation with somebody, and they were talking about you, and they had mentioned that they had met you because you were playing in the American Idiot musical, or you were in the American Idiot musical. When was that?
That was 2015, I think. 2015 October of 2015.
Yeah.
Was it the like traveling version of it, or was it up in New York? Or
No, it was just the. It was actually at a children's theater that's now gone.
Gotcha,
It was
gotcha.
Showtime theater performing arts. It was they mainly taught kids, but that was one of the few times they were all right, let's bring in adults. Everyone obviously was it was only adults in that show, and it was a perfect stage for it actually because it was such a small, literally very small, maybe barely 100 people theater kind of thing. So that was one of those few shows that worked for that, because that show in particular isn't it doesn't need a crazy amount of a set. Or
Yeah.
anything.
Sure,
But yeah, I'm just curious who they saw me in the show, or they
Somebody had mentioned to them, you have to go see this guy, and it wound up being you. I don't remember who I was talking to about this story, but they were I was having a conversation with them and you came up and they're like, oh, well, my friend told me, he's like, you got to go see this guy in American Idiot. He's incredible.
Was it Jacob?
I think, I think it was Jacob.
Because he was
yeah.
friends with this guy Don, who was in the show as well.
Yeah. It was
yeah.
Jacob Taco. So and he was telling me, and he's like, my friend told me I got to go see this guy, and it wound up being you. But I'm curious though, because I mean, like, you're doing like musical theater, like playing those type of things. Like, which one did you felt like you associated yourself more with, is playing the acoustic guitar and doing that, or is it the musical theater part of it? Because there's a lot. Because I mean, obviously you wanted to act. So you get to kind of combine the two of them together there. Yeah.
That's really the main appeal of musical theater for me for a while, was that combination. But the up until that happened at FAU, up until even my senior year of high school, I really wanted to do that. I had a girlfriend at the time in high school that was super into that too, but I basically got rejected from every theater program I auditioned for.
Oh,
yeah. So that was kind of like a big part of what not deterred me, but made me feel like, well, that, you know, and it's not like I auditioned for every single. It was literally I auditioned for New World down here in Miami, and Juilliard, and maybe a conservatory or two here or there. Like I think I auditioned for like North Carolina Conservatory, like one of those theaters. There's like all sorts of like these conservatories and art schools, especially in that time, 2011 when I graduated. So 2011, like. American Academy for Dramatic Arts, and all those places. There's all sorts of conservatories. What turned me off a lot, or the reason why I didn't even bother with a lot of those places, excluding Juilliard, because it's got that prestigious fucking title, right? So the main thing that deterred me from all those was like, oh, you have to spend like hundreds of thousands of dollars potentially, and you don't even get a degree. You know, it's like these conservatories were like, oh, fuck, like my parents are not from money or like wealthy by any means, so that wasn't an option, or it wasn't worth the debt it might have put me in for like 2 years of, you know, because you're supposed to be like, the whole thing with that too is you're supposed to be like working up there, like working and auditioning for shows, and that's the difference between having money and not having money. Is the kids that have their parents taking care of a lot of that stuff, they can go out and audition, but they have the time outside of the school to do that. Meanwhile, a friend of mine, like my buddy Miles, who like I knew went to ADA, American Academy for Dramatic Arts, literally was like working his ass off, having just to like survive and like have a place to live up in New York when he wasn't doing school shit. So then it becomes just, it's one of those things. Is it worth it? Unfortunately, hobbies and being an artist, the lack of income from it is not only a huge deterrent, but a huge, like, I mean, just like a back and forth justification of
what I was going to say is like, you were worried about that, yet here we are doing that exact thing of still trying to chase this, you know, whatever, this pipe dream or dream, and still having to like worry about securing any type of financial situation for ourselves to be able to do that anyways, regardless if it's for a conservatory or if it's just, you know, to pay rent or whatever it is. Yeah. So it's funny that deters a lot of people, but you're still doing it. No matter
but you're
what.
not doing it. You're not doing it like
you're not doing it for somebody else.
Well, not only that, but like he's being creative. He's doing his thing, and he's doing the music and all that stuff. And he's working, but he's not doing his creative thing, working, and going to school. That's a big that's a big extra chunk.
100%. But I think it's still this. It's got to be relatively similar though. I mean, like if you go to these conservatories and stuff like that, you have to put all of your time into your art. But then you also are paying to put all of your time into your art and not making any money from all of the time you're putting into all of your art.
Absolutely.
And then at the end of the day, you can't fucking eat. And it's just like it's weird that it deters so many people when people are still doing it. But that proves further that this is what you either love to do, this is what you have to do, or you're completely fucking insane.
I think it's a little bit of that.
I 100% believe
three.
It's all three of them kind of clomb together.
Yes.
No, it's tough, man. Like it's tough as far as the gig life is.
We talk about this all the time.
Yeah, I would never quit making music and writing music and stuff. But I recently, especially, I was like, I should stop trying to do this gig life and get a 9 to 5 Monday through Friday. So I can actually.
Are you playing like the 3 and 4 hour like cover type gigs and things, or are you doing more original stuff?
No,
or?
yeah, I do the cover. Yeah, I did solo for years up until recently, maybe a year and a half ago. I started playing music with 2 of my friends in a cover thing, and thankfully we have like one yacht club on Atlantic Ave. It used to be Bull Bar, now it's Yacht Club. That place, I saw you guys had Holden on here recently, so he, thankfully he's giving us just a few of those a month, and playing there has been a nice development of like when you start really playing with the same people and start to solidify everything.
It's nice playing in a band after playing by yourself for so much too.
Dude, I've been doing this since like 2017. I've been like gigging at the things and the solo stuff. Only recently I started using the looper as well, which Jesus, what a difference it makes just having something backing you up.
Beautiful.
But I'm okay with not having used it for a while because it forced me to like take up my guitar playing. But now using the looper, I like that I can at least like get my lead playing a little more seasoned as well, so but it's tough doing the solo gig purely because of that. When we're playing with people in a band on stage, you have that connection. So if the audience isn't totally there, it's like whatever, at least we're enjoying this.
Right.
When there's no one there and the audience is interacting, you're literally like, dude,
that's
super vulnerable.
That I feel like is 90% of the conversations that you and I had via text are about that exact thing right there. It's like, it's so hard. And I don't think a lot of people understand. And I wish that clapping was like a bigger thing. I wish there was I wish we could put signs in bars to be like, please clap for the animals. You know what I mean? Because it's like, the reality of it is that we're having to sit there and play fucking Brown Eyed Girl, 18 times a week. And then at the end of it, we're already feeling like ass for having to play this dumb fucking song. And then at the end of it, nobody cares. You're like, really? I'm not doing this for me. Yeah. I'm doing this for you. I'm entertaining you.
Yeah, I know.
That's really, really tough.
I've been to a couple of times where I've come to see you and stuff, and you've had a few that I've been to that are tons of people and stuff, and everybody's clapping and everything. It's a good time. But I've been to 1 or 2 of your shows where like it's just a hard place, like a hard spot, and it's a weird night. And it was literally like me and Kelly and maybe like a couple other people, and then maybe a random person or 2, and then that was it.
Well, I'm so thankful for when you do come, because you're one of the few assholes that actually at the end of the song.
That was the point. Like the song would end, and you just had this look on your face.
Claps.
It was like you could hear like the crickets, and then
it's like
golf clap.
Thanks, thank you, appreciate it.
I feel like something that should be like that more people aren't aware. I don't know if people are aware of it or not. Is the vulnerability that we feel, and the
100%.
Just you almost feel naked sometimes, or whatever. Shout out to Torn by Natalie Imbruglia, whatever. But like you feel, you really do feel super. I don't know, exposed in a way or something.
Even if you're not playing your own music, if you're playing other people's music, if you're going out there, like it's so hard for some people to talk in front of people. Imagine singing in front of people. Like luckily with the looper, for me, I cover more ground. I've done very few shows where it's just me and an acoustic guitar because it terrifies the fuck out of me.
Yeah.
Because I'm scared.
Yeah.
I've been playing music my whole entire life, and I'm still scared doing it. And it's like I see people like you do it. I see people like Dominic do it, and I'm like, I so much credit I give to you for doing that, because you are literally like naked up there.
Yeah.
That is just and you're playing. And the thing is too is like people like you. Like, there's some people that just mail it the fuck in, and there's like whatever, they play Smoke in the Water and they move on. And then I watch like you, and you like really play the song, like you give it your all. And then people are like, we're in the jukebox generation where it's just like, it just the next song comes on and nobody. This is the thing that kills me too. Sorry, but this is the thing that kills me. This is
I'm so into this. I know.
That's why I'm not worried about it. So this is one of the things that kills me. You'll see this a lot. Playing a song, you're looking out in the crowd and everybody's singing. Everybody's singing along, the bobbing the head. I love that song. They're doing their thing. They're taking pictures, everything like that. Song ends, and then nobody claps. I'm like, what the fuck just happened the last 3.5 minutes? You literally you loved everything I was doing. You're like, oh yeah, we made eye contact the whole entire day, and then all of a sudden I'm a ghost. I don't understand what happened.
It's almost like like am I on TV or something? Like is there a screen separating us where they don't think it's
like a two-way mirror. They don't know I'm actually there.
Well, that's what the singer-songwriter thing that we've been doing at Brewhouse. Like that's incredible. There's 4 people on the stage, and
just went to the one on Sunday. That was nice.
Yeah, there's 4 people on stage, and they each play a couple of songs, and talk about it and tell their story. Everyone, like this Sunday was the first one time that I couldn't make it. It was because we had a gig. But every time I've been there, it's been, you know, everybody that's in their seats is glued in their seats, staring at you, just focused on you. You could hear a pin drop, and they're all there for you. They're not. You're not just background noise or anything. And then every time the song ends, the entire place, no matter who was playing what, no matter what they were singing about, the entire place erupts into clapping and cheering and everything. And it's just like, you know, we've done, I guess, 3 of these now.
Yeah, it's the fourth one you guys did, yeah.
So every time I've been there, like that's my big takeaway. As I walk away, I'm like, God, every gig should be like that. People should be that attentive at every gig, and they're not.
Yeah. Well, I love that kind of that kind of event is so different though too. You know, I think that's where, I don't know if they're more inclined to do that because they feel like they're really, again, talking about like personal vulnerability, all that shit, like something that you made or a song that anything that you created purely is like from you, no one else, especially if it's like you're the only person that
if you're like by yourself, like we were just talking.
Yeah, so it's like if you're, I think maybe that and just that kind of place is more inviting for that.
Well, I think, I mean, definitely the music, people are very attentive to it and they're listening to it and they're enjoying it. I think the storytelling in that atmosphere, definitely. I think the storytelling is a big thing too. You know,
but they also know the people that are coming they know they're coming for that thing too.
Yes, absolutely.
And I think that's the hardest part is like having to separate as a musician, as an artist, separate yourself as a creative from being a human jukebox. And that's the thing is that like you are like Rio, you are an incredible guitar player, an incredible singer, incredible songwriter, but also you play other people's songs. And like just because people don't react to you playing other people's songs doesn't make you any less of a great guitar player, singer, songwriter. But it's really hard in that moment to separate that. So like when you do the songwriter night, it's great because like you're going there for that thing and you get to be the person that your music is telling you that you are. Even if people are accepting it.
Even if somebody did play a cover, that would just be a huge shift in that. And it would be maybe a nice moment, but it would just
won't have the same impact.
Exactly. It would be throwing off the point of what that is, you know.
Yeah, well, people get to not just listen to your music and to your creativity and everything, but they get to understand the music and they get to really just connect with all these artists. Like that's a big thing, you know. I mean, they go there. I could see it in their eyes. Like, you know, Kenny's been to every one of them, and he walks away from every one of those like telling us.
He's got a rave review of everything
every single time. I mean, it's just and he's not wrong.
Starting to get suspicious. Are you guys paying this man? I don't understand. How can they all be this?
We are paying him in donuts.
He's an in real life bot.
Exactly.
Yes. That's actually pretty good.
He's Kenny AI.
Yes, I like that. But I mean, people just they have this connection, and they make this connection with these artists, and I love everything about that night.
Well, that's the point.
100%.
That is the point.
Yeah.
You guys have created an atmosphere where it's the music is actually serving its fucking purpose for once.
There should be more of those.
Yeah,
you know?
but down here it's a vast wasteland of dog shit. Yeah. And then you get these moments, and like what you guys created was incredible, and it gives people that moment. And for people that play constantly, it's really, really hard to find those moments. And that moment, that night of doing that can carry you for like a month. You can go and play Brown Eyed Girl and nobody can give a shit the next day, or even that night later on, and you won't feel nearly as bad because it's like, you know, you stretched before. You know what I mean? You got to work
that makes up for all of like that'll like leave you. You know, it's like releasing a song or anything. Yeah, that satisfaction of releasing any sort of original material, whether it's a video or a album, anything. That you know, it's hard to not. Be floating on cloud nine for a while there. Like you'll always, and at the same time, I don't know about you guys, but once you're finished with a project, it almost, it inevitably loses its, you know, freshness because the process is so fun and the process is like the best part. That once you're done, it's like the fact that you have to kind of move on from that and you're not focusing on it anymore it's like this it's bittersweet. It's a bittersweet feeling of, well, I'm glad that it's finally finished, but
it's done.
Well, I love exactly. It's over. Like it's the end. Like it's almost like once you release a song, the song dies in a way, or it's just like the end of its life in that way. not in that way.
No. But you're right. In your eyes, you've given birth to this song, it's now off to college, and that's it. It's having its own babies.
It's left
not.
you.
You're lucky if you see a couple cents from the streams on Christmas. That's about
it's
it.
the end of Toy Story 3
That's
and
it.
Where Woody and Buzz.
But it's funny you bring that up because one of the things I was thinking about when we were talking about when I was prepping for the show was you talk about releasing. You had 2 full-length records come out, one in 2020 and one in 2021. The 2021 one, Rio, I'm assuming was like a COVID thing.
It was. I had a.
It's a longer record
Yeah.
than the record before that. It just like seemed a little bit more experimental. There's like, what was the one song? I think it's like track 2 on had like a drum machine in it, but then the rest of it was like mostly acoustic.
I should know the name of my own song. And the story goes.
Okay,
is the second
but
one, yeah.
you're talking about like how you finish a project and then you're like, man, now it's over. And I was looking at your Spotify footprint and I'm like, Jesus Christ! Like he put a full album out in 2020 and then turned around and put another fucking full album out in 2021. So you wasted no time going over to the next one. Do you feel like you always have to kind of like jump to the next one because of that? But since then, no records.
I feel like I'm being interviewed by Nardwar. By the way, I'm surprised at how much you know about. I sincerely appreciate.
I listened to
I'm
the
super
records.
flattered.
I listened to the record. I remember listening to. I don't remember the name of the record that came out in 2020. That's the one where you have like the mask on.
Somewhere else.
Yeah.
It was an EP too, so that was where it was a little different. Even though
okay.
those 5 songs that were like full band songs still were just as much work as the other ones. I actually had like more tracks, but from a financial standpoint, I couldn't really afford all of them. So I picked like, all right, these 5 feel like they belong together, and the other ones, that feeling of like, all right, you got these songs, but these feel like they belong together more than the others. It's kind of, but either way, I was like the EP, and then that was 5 tracks, and then the other one was like a 14 track.
Yeah, it was a lot.
Granted, some of those are like 30 second songs.
There's like First Step Part 1, First Step Part 2.
Yeah,
there's
Full Step,
and then there's like one that's like Capo 2 song or something like that. E flat, I think is one of the name of the songs.
Yeah, it's because they were instrumental, so it's normally I go off of my lyrics to name songs, but without that, it's like, I don't know.
It's kind of tough. And then you don't want to be like a pseudo-intellectual naming like, this is the way it made me feel, man.
I thought it was kind of cool, because, okay, so that album kind of had a vibe of what if it was like a high quality voice memos thing. They're all supposed to feel like as live as possible. A lot of, as far as what you were asking earlier, that was...
I was going to ask that, did you do all that live? Because as I'm listening to it, I'm like, this doesn't feel like this is to a click.
No, well, so they were all done guitar and voice separately. I went to like a studio and did like hire someone to use their mic and mixed it.
Okay.
Yeah, so it wasn't like a homemade record.
I thought it was like because it was 2021 and you had released one in 2020, so I assumed this was like a lockdown record that you had done in your house.
True. No, it was because I had so many songs that were just me and the acoustic guitar that I hadn't put out, and also the music that I had out versus what I was actually doing at solo gigs. Solo gigs were like just me and the acoustic guitar, and I felt like that was like what people knew me, what I was doing live, and then how people viewed me on. Basically online, I had like no music that was besides the last song on the Somewhere Else EP called The Puppet, which still had band drums on it and stuff. So that self-titled album, Rio, was just besides those 2 tracks, the one you were talking about before, and The Story Goes, and then the last song, After I'm Gone, besides those 2 tracks, everything is definitely meant to sound as live as possible.
It feels it.
I'm glad, because it's almost like a voice memo album or something.
No, totally.
Just purely like not demos,
like a really
but
high quality voice memo album. It was funny as I was trying to put my finger on it, like what it kind of reminded me of, and like there's some between the EP and the record. There's some choices that are relatively similar, but are you a big Beatles fan?
Yeah.
So the Rio record had a lot of like chord changes that were like very Beatles, and melody choices that were like super Beatles. And I was like, oh, he must be a big Beatles fan.
Kind of my love letter to McCartney's. Him and the guitar, because I always loved those songs like, so much.
Yeah, that's what it sort of felt like. But that one with the drum machine in it, I don't know what it was about that tune, but that shit rides.
Oh, thank you so much, man.
But I was listening to it on the way up here because I wanted to. I remember when the first EP came out, and then I remember when Rio came out, but I will be completely honest that I didn't like go through track by track. I think I may have like listened to like 1 or 2 songs that you had posted about it. So this was like my first actually sit down and like listen to the thing, and I was blown away. That Rio record's fantastic. It's
Thank
very,
you
very
so
good
much,
record.
man.
But yeah, so you went from literally doing that EP right into the record, and then no albums since then. And now we're 2025.
Maybe I think one single. I think I released like one
have,
single
like,
between.
I think
or something.
two singles. Oh no, one single, the Goodbye one, and then the one that you just released with the music video recently.
That was
that was like a couple weeks ago or something like
Well,
that.
so the music video was released the song was released about a year ago.
Oh, the
Like,
song was that old. Okay.
Yeah, the song
All
was
right,
like I'm pretty sure February of last year. So yeah, February now. I think it was just actually something I produced with John Paul Pitts from Surfer Blood over at Shade Tree Studio. So and it you could definitely hear that like almost like Surfer Blood influence of that or that like
the opening riff and stuff like that.
Well, that was all like what's funny is it almost sounds like a lot like them and influenced by him, and yet I actually wrote that like years before I even listened to him. Yeah. I wrote that song actually in like 2016 when I was playing with an old band, and it was just something that I messed with that we would kind of play together.
How come it didn't make it onto the other two records?
I don't know. Okay, so when I recorded the Somewhere Else EP, that was actually recorded in 2014, and I didn't finish mixing it, and I didn't find like the right. I originally had synth drums and all sorts of like electronic production on it.
Yeah.
And was going back and forth in my head, like, oh, do I want? And then I started playing with Harley. Harley Galliano. Shout out to Harley. You're one of my favorite people in the world. One of my very close friends. He plays the drums on all of those tracks. Even "Kill to Survive," the one and he's in the video, obviously.
Yeah.
And he once I had him on the Somewhere Else EP, I was like, all right, yeah, we gotta like do it. But it was a lot of like just time and money and having to like not only find the right people to mix it with. I essentially recorded it with a friend of mine, brought it to somebody else to mix it, but I didn't find that person till like years later. And I didn't think about the song. I was in a place in my life where that wasn't really.
Is time and money really like? I mean, which I imagine for most people it is, but is that what's keeping you from releasing more stuff?
I have like 10 or 20 songs. I just don't do any engineering on my own, and I'm not.
It's fair.
I've put so much, like, we all got these eggs that we put into different baskets of our life, right? I've done that trade-off of, because I love pursuing the performance and playing and singing at the same time and all of that, like, again, I guess, musical theater, of course, had a huge influence on this, but that being as alive as I can be on stage is the trade-off of, like, I am technically stupid as fuck when it comes to like music and art and the engineering and the production of all this. I am, when it comes to any of this shit, this mic, these cameras, all of this stuff is super
I feel your pain.
Basic to me. I'm elementary minded when it comes to.
That's why you were talking into the base of the microphone when we first started. I was confused what you were doing.
Oh yeah, man. I was actually gonna like flip this thing around.
Yeah. Is this on?
Yeah. No, but it was like that. That's just I love trying to, even though the production might not even be as good as it can be. I like not only working with other people and hiring for them for that, hiring someone to mix and master everything, but it's just, they're just going to know what they're doing much better than I do, know? And not only that, I was, for the self-titled album where it was just me and the guitar, I was mainly hiring or spending money to like use their microphone, It's a friend of mine, they have a studio and we'll mix it and master it for me, but they were working with a Neumann versus, I didn't even have a microphone at all, or whatever. Didn't
well, because like on your
equipment.
YouTube videos, I see you have a microphone in
now.
Them,
I do, yeah.
I was going to say. So that's why I just assumed that you had always had that, because I see you working on some stuff that you use Logic.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
So I've seen it on the video, so I just assumed that you did all that stuff yourself.
It's all super recent as far as just even having a space and the right equipment for all that has been like only last like I don't know 3 or 4 years. So back then it's been when COVID hit, that was like a huge like right when I was releasing my first EP. Basically, no joke, like my birthday's in March and I was releasing it in March of 2020.
It was a good time.
And then literally like
good timing.
Right when I was releasing, I was just like, oh yeah, this is definitely going to make a dent in the internet with everything that's going on right now. I was just like immediately like, wow, like felt like,
you got the rug taken out from under you.
I had the same thing. I had the same thing happen to me with, I was doing some art pieces for the city of West Palm, and I was doing the 3D street stuff that I do, but I was doing it in paint as a permanent project. And, I started it like in January of 2020, I guess. And, quite literally the day that I finished the last piece, and then they were supposed to do ribbon cuttings later that week. Like the day I finished, the next day the city shut down, and that was
Did
it.
you get your paycheck?
Yeah, I got the paycheck.
Oh, good
they
shit,
never
then.
did. They never. Yeah, they never
got paid,
did.
move on.
They never did the ribbon cuttings. They never did the articles. They never did. Like nobody even knows that these art projects are out there. They're just there. If you stumble across them,
Are
in the
they
park,
still there?
Oh, man.
Yeah, they're still there. If you stumble across them when you're walking through the park, great. But like it was never publicized.
Wait, so you painted shit that nobody knows about?
Pretty much, yeah.
Wow.
I get
That's pretty
once in a
interesting.
blue moon. I get like an Instagram tag, and I'm like, oh, somebody found
Oh,
it.
hey, look at that.
Van Gogh, man. Van Gogh.
yeah.
Which
Keep your
brings me
ears,
back to
keep
faking
your
my
ears.
own death.
Yeah. My lord.
All right. Talk us through your writing process. How does that work for you?
It's a gut impulse. I'm sure like a lot of people have that kind of approach. Sometimes it's a melody happens and you make the music adapt to that, or you write the music and make lyrics to it. Sometimes, like I know Kurt Cobain, that was a lot of what he did. Just wrote the chords first and then kind of wrote words to go with that.
Yeah.
But it's super random for me sometimes. Like
Okay.
I've like I don't know. When you kind of get used to just, I don't want to say like churning out songs, or when you get used to getting the ideas out,
Yeah.
it just kind of
Comes muscle memory.
yeah. It's
You
like
just kind of go into a mode.
I don't even know where they come from. A lot of songs I've written, I was like hammered and stoned when I wrote them too. So or like got the idea out and then wrote it. It's like that. I'm the epitome of like the saying "write drunk, edit sober" kind of thing. At least that's how I used to be. I don't,
Hemingway,
despite
yeah.
what we're seeing here, I don't drink as I don't drink as much as I
What
used
are we
to.
writing?
Well, that's the thing.
Yeah.
I mean, like, there's a lot of people that will come on here and tell us, their writing process is ABC. This, and then this, and then this. But by the same token, there's a lot of people that come on here like yourself that they don't have a process per se. Like sometimes the lyrics come first, sometimes the music comes first,
Yeah.
sometimes the whatever comes first, and that's fine. That's the point. Like it's creative.
There's no
there's
right
no
or
rule
wrong.
book for this stuff. Yeah,
It's like breathing. Like you don't do breathing. You just breathe.
Now I'm thinking about the fact.
now I'm thinking of- yeah, exactly.
Don't think
Why is
about
everybody
manual
turning blue?
breathing. Don't think about manually
But
breathing.
it's a sort of the same thing where it's like, like you don't think about writing.
Yeah.
You just like have an idea and then you just write it and then the idea stops and then you just stop. And that's basically it.
Well, what I'll say is a quick, I guess, a little plug for my old band. Once I got kicked out of FAU, going back to that earlier, or whatever, I linked up with my friend, my friend to this day, a very awesome musician, and single-handedly, like the main reason why I am such a dedicated songwriter now is my good friend Austin, who I met through another friend of mine. And we became like a songwriting duo from like the ages of like 18 or 19 to like 20 or 21. We like for those like 2 or 3 years, we were attached at the hip writing a lot.
Nice.
A lot of songs. And I released a 13-track album with him back in, and with the people I worked on that with. It was like us two and then our friend on drums, then my friend who actually made my most recent music video, produced it for us. Anyway, we released that album back in like 2013. So that was like I already kind of had that dose of not only making an album, but working with other people and kind of learned a lot through that. It's one thing being creative, but as soon as you're like working with other people, it wasn't a bad process with, like, I think we were all very, like, it was one of those things we all felt like, I don't want to say the leader, but we were all very confident in what we did, that we all kind of, it was a too many chefs in the kitchen kind of situation. And it wasn't bad. I have fond memories of that, and I actually really love a lot of what I learned from that. But it was such a shift from doing a lot of things creatively on my own, or in theater, you have a director doing something. Suddenly, like, I'm kind of a part of like this, square of three, me and three other people, this group of 4 people that we're all equally have a say in it, and it just kind of, I don't know.
It's different.
It was like an on and off band. It was like we released that album and then like broke up afterwards. It was a lot of like everyone kind of wanting their own thing with it, and it just not working out. And that's fine. But that was essentially like, that felt like the epitome of the baseball players swinging 3 bats at a time before they go up to bat with 1. Like thing you see in cartoons, right? Where it's like they're just having the 3 things and they just whatever, so that the swinging the 1 bat is that much easier, lighter,
exactly.
their muscles or whatever. So that was what that felt like. It was like this harsh, concentrated, lethal dose of something that made me where I learned so much shit and that single-handedly made me want to pursue music on my own. When I wrote all the songs for the EP and started releasing music was immediately after. And
So right after that is when you started writing songs for the EP that was recorded in 2014 that didn't come out until 2020.
Yeah.
Got it.
So and I was actually going to record
So
those
it's
with
the byproduct of that.
Yeah, I was going to record those with those guys.
That was going to be
played-
my next question.
Yeah.
Were those songs supposed to be for them?
Yeah, and the band was called Project Mab. You could find that online, actually. Project Mab. The album was called All I Can Find. It's got like a sunset picture off of Old Boynton in Boynton Beach. And it was a great process. I think we all just wanted different things, like working with other people. I'm a firm believer that you should never try to force a group of people to work together. You should always go off of like the chemistry that you have with others, and no one should ever like force a group into something because it's okay. It's totally fine if people don't work well together.
Yeah.
That's something I'm working with multiple bands.
It's
I'm
really
working
hard
with
to get
so many-
people to believe that, though.
Yeah, no, it's like
Some people get really aggravated, be like, "Oh, we can't work together. You must be a prick." And it's like, well, no. It's just like sometimes creativity just doesn't match up. We're not on the same wavelength.
right.
It's interesting. We had, because we just had Holden on here, and he was telling us a whole story about Nashville and all this stuff, and how the record label sent him up, and he had to work with like these specific songwriters, and it was a certain formula and all this stuff, and it was kind of that situation, like you're not really working, you're not really working well with these people, or you don't want to work with these people, but you're kind of forced to. So.
Yeah.
He told me the same thing where like right after his story, like people found out about his story and how crazy, tragic that was, or just how
Sure.
amazing. Holden, shout out to you. You're an amazing
man.
person.
Yeah.
I'm so grateful that you survived that insane freak accident because it's just something that no one would ever think of. For those who don't know Holden, he was driving in a car on 95, and behind an 18-wheeler, a giant piece of metal fell under the truck and smacked him right in the face, went right through the windshield and smacked him in the face with it. And it's
Crazy.
like it's fucking insane, right?
Life-changing moment.
Exactly. And Holden, just living life and all that shit, dude. You inspire the fuck out of me, and I sincerely appreciate seeing that. But yeah, he was telling me that he was working with people, and they heard about his story and all this stuff, and they were like literally trying to like
Force it.
It's this this puppet master kind of
He had his whole thing,
Well,
and
that's
he
the
had
industry,
his whole sound and feel and how he liked to do things, and then they were trying to force the situation. So yeah,
And
That's the way the big wigs work.
yeah, man.
But it does. But what's funny is how many things have been such a clusterfuck of a product because of that. Literally, look at Fantastic Four from what 2016 or whenever that one with
Josh
Miles
Trank
Teller.
one?
Yeah, like the worst clusterfuck.
We're going into
of a-
nerd
I was just
territory.
gonna say, don't get this guy started on comic book shit, man.
Ready? Let's go.
But seriously, like that's an example, and how many movies in general are an example of like producers, executives, higher ups fucking with the art and the work that's being
all of
done. And and it's just
this
like
is why studios like A24 are so successful, is because they don't do that.
or HBO.
They specifically get into the business to be like, we are going to fund you to do you. That's what we hired you for. You're the filmmaker, you're the writer, you're the director, you're the musician. We're going to put our money because we believe in you, and you're going to do you. And if it fails, that's fine, but then we got to move on.
But that's every industry, though. Unfortunately, I mean, like every industry. It's not just it's every creative industry, I guess.
They have those two.
Yeah, I do.
Music doesn't have too much of the other side. Music doesn't have the A24s.
Yeah.
They
Oh, no,
just have
no,
the
no.
Universal, Columbia, go fuck yourself. That's all they have.
Yeah, man.
And now that they're not making anything, based virtually anything, just like the rest of us, like we think we're complaining. Imagine where these fucking corporations are at. We're losing hundreds of millions of profit. Why did iTunes make it to where you could buy one song out of the album? I don't understand. Why would they move away from? Like as soon as the one thing that killed music is the iTunes store. I've been using Apple, and my dad's a huge Apple fanboy, and I've been using their products since I was a toddler. But fuck you, Apple Store, for making people be able to buy the one track instead of the full album.
Hey, at least they
that
can buy
completely
it,
changed it.
as opposed to
Yeah.
Spotify, where they don't buy shit.
But that changed the course of everything as
Yeah,
far as
it
once
did.
people saw like oh, we don't have to that changed. Like, oh, we don't have to sell a full album. Let's just focus on
Napster changed it when you could just take it.
Because honestly, I'm not a Lars Ulrich sucks as a drummer in Metallica, but he was right. He was right. I was talking about that with Kevin actually before he passed.
yeah.
Shout out to Kevin Stewart. We miss you very much. But like he was right as far as like how that completely shifted everything. And at the same time, what's so funny is without LimeWire, without the internet, SoundCloud, YouTube, there are so many artists that would have never like seen the light of. How many songs did I discover on LimeWire? Because I got high and all sorts of like random underground tracks.
But also listening to music that you would have never listened to.
Yeah.
Like the artists that came out of, like I downloaded a System of a Down album and I got this one song called Wish and I was like, this doesn't sound like System of a Down.
It's Alien Ant Farm.
It was Alien Ant Farm. And
Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3.
all of a sudden, I was like, what the hell is it? And then Smooth Criminal came out, the album came out, and I was like, wait, that's that song. And that album is fire, by the way.
Yeah,
Anthology, you ever listen to Anthology?
yeah.
So fire.
Is that that's their debut album?
That's their debut album.
Oh man.
So,
Imagine.
but that of like getting that song that I wouldn't have known anything about, the sound, like that sonic adventure I went on in this thing that I was listening to, carved part of my creativity into like what I wanted to create because of that. And like we have that in abundance now because of Spotify, because the algorithm.
Yeah.
But now it's like it's not fruitful.
But it's a
anymore,
double-edged sword. I mean,
100%.
It's so easy to put music out now. Like,
well,
it's
one side's
so
a
easy.
sword and the other one's like a vibrating
Right, yeah.
with spikes.
Yes.
Can I gotta ask
poison.
you guys, what do you guys? What the main thing that's kind of been really getting under my skin or making me more
This
frustrated
podcast?
than I. No, dude, this one is so good. And
I know it was British people, and that's why Ben didn't.
That's
come
why Ben
today.
didn't
No,
make
we
it.
knew that.
Yeah.
That was in the pre-show questions.
Right.
Well, this is keeping it legitimately 561 or the origin of 561. No, I'm just kidding. But, no, but I want to know what you guys think of the. It feels like not only has music become kind of a meme nowadays, but there's this whole joke and and certain Instagram pages, certain internet pages like Catatonic Youths doesn't help this because they promote it, but there's a whole thing now where people make songs so shitty, and that's kind of the intention of it, and then they pay for a sponsored ad on Facebook or Instagram or whatever, and they push their bullshit, and then they get all this What's so fucking insane to me is how people that kind of shit on the art of music, like the purity and this, like. To me, music is so magical and it's so special.
Mm-hmm.
It can be. Music is no different than any other art form where it can change people's lives. It can have a significantly profound impact on every single one of us as individuals. That to shit on it and make a song or something that's like intentionally bad or something that's for comedic effect, not like Weird Al Yankovic where there's still some sort of like
Those songs bang.
Yeah, I mean,
Those bang.
you telling me that Another One Rides the Bus isn't a fucking
Get out
rock
of
and
here.
track?
The Food album? Get out of here. La 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 la
His
lasagna.
his music videos, his show, like
Yeah.
he does like all sorts of other stuff to kind of have a.
It's comedy, but it's not
But it's so
making fun
creative.
of it.
Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah.
not like making fun of the art. It's making fun of the song.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Sort of.
Like comedy music, of
Yeah,
course, 100% has its own thing going on. I'm not crazy about it, but yeah, Tenacious D, obviously. Not that we'll ever see a show with them anymore, but Tenacious D, yeah, like anybody that's like trying to. It's hard for me to take it seriously, but hey, like that's its own subgenre of music or whatever. But yeah, to make something shitty just for the attention of the internet. And it's like these people are getting more interaction, they're getting more traffic, more fucking popularity and more followers than the three of us combined.
That's this podcast, though. I mean, we're creating a shitty podcast to try to get more traffic.
I mean, yeah. But
But we're not making something intentionally bad or doing something extreme for the sake of spreading poor behavior on the internet, like a lot of, because the game now is get
the
attention by
internet
any
is just
means.
all poor behavior for the most part.
That's exactly
you're right. It's just attention.
Streamers and the toxicity of this shit is what gets under my skin more than anything else, because we could sit here and all like just get fucking naked and start throwing our shit at each other like Gigi Allen. That'll get some attention probably. But we're not going to do that. I have
Especially by our doctors.
Yeah. Especially what?
Our doctors would probably be a little bit worried about
they'd be
that. If we were
concerned
to
about
say,
that, yeah.
Did you have a bath in feces last night?
Wait, do you have health insurance as a musician?
No.
Yeah.
I have to say, dude, I haven't seen a doctor in years.
That's pretty
man.
damn fun. That's the funniest thing I've heard all day.
That was the most shocking
Health
thing we said.
insurance.
Dude.
Yeah.
No, but like that would get some attention, would it not? Like
Yeah.
the was a woman recently who had like sex with like 1,000 dudes in a day or some shit like that to like get his.
I saw
like
that story.
there's the Costco guys, there's the Hawk Tuah girl, there's the Chick-fil-A girl. All these people have more eyes and attention on them. And hopefully in 20 years, no one knows what the fuck I'm talking about. And hopefully this is some time capsule.
What a time capsule.
And they made, and what's crazy is the amount of money they made on it. You know, like some of these,
It's crazy.
They have 15 seconds of fame, and they make so much. The Hot Tour girl started a Bitcoin of some sort.
And now she's in trouble for
yeah,
that.
Now she's in trouble for
Yeah.
that, but she like made so much fucking money.
I personally think it's just like this has been happening for years and years and years and years and eons.
The
and
internet just makes it more obvious?
We're just paying more attention to it than we
Yeah.
ever did before because we have the ability to.
Did it start with Vine, you think?
Before the internet, no, because it was happening before that. I mean,
Yeah, Dane
before
Cook with MySpace.
Before
and
the, yeah,
shit.
I mean, what's her name ripping up the picture of the Pope on SNL? Like that was like
You're
a
right.
shocking moment. Those things always.
Sinead O'Connor.
Sinead O'Connor.
Yeah.
R.I.P. And it's one of those things where like those things have been happening for years, but they're just happening
True.
now. We're rewarding it way more, and
Yeah.
that's the problem.
Yeah.
But I think that if we just go back to paying attention, what we choose what we get to pay attention to. And
But
if
do
we just find...
Do we? Because when I'm browsing the internet, a lot of shit is thrown in front of me without even
okay.
wanting. You're right.
But
at the same time,
you can stop and watch the video, or you can scroll past it.
when
And
it's-
that's your choice.
But when there's nothing but
well, you
that,
could put it down and go somewhere else.
Well,
you can go
also-
watch a movie.
Well, also like when I'm on Instagram or when I'm on YouTube, I'm not always watching music related art. It's not like
I'm barely
you
ever
know,
watching anything music on
Sound
YouTube
like my
anymore.
mom, man. Put down the video game, go outside and play.
Well, I'm saying though, go outside and go see a good film.
Well, when I'm at a gig and I'm on break and I have my phone and I feel like being antisocial because
I put my headphones in
Because we all
immediately
do.
and I start listening to a podcast.
I just mean
Hopefully
when,
not this one.
I'm right there with you guys.
Never listen to the show.
I'm gonna listen to this one because I'm on it. But no, I just-
Narcissist.
Fair. It's just to like look back at it because I'm like a tall boy and a half.
I hate myself.
I have no idea. It's like it's more so to see, like just make sure this isn't like a disaster and something I should whether I can show it to other people.
Since
or
we're
not.
speaking of disasters and putting your art out there and stuff, this is a good time for you to play us a few songs.
We have such little time to waste before the morning starts the day. This captivation is so fascinating. It's been so long that I'm okay. Say you won't forget my name. Say you won't forget me. I lose myself around you lately, so I ask you why you're doing this to me. I'm caught between this rock and place. I never want to separate. This captivation is so fascinating. It's been so long that I'm okay. Say you won't forget my name. Say you won't forget me. Myself around you lately, so I ask you why you're doing this to me. forget my name. Say you won't forget me. I lose myself around you lately, so I ask you why you're doing this to me. You hate that I'm this way and waiting for a change, and I'm feeling so ashamed. I've tainted everything. It happened once again. Why can't I comprehend? And everybody hates when I talk shit. I never wanna be the kind of person when I speak that I could ever hurt you, babe. I'm not as funny as I think. I'm no joker, I'm just a fool. I'm no joker, I'm just a fool. Never question why. Keep pretending like I can do anything I want at all times. No one understands that I'm a careless man. Wanna see how I feel. I'll never compare. I'm no joker, I'm just a fool. I'm no joker, I'm just a fool. I never wanna be the kind of person when I speak that I could ever hurt you, babe. I'm not as funny as I think. No, I never wanna be the kind of person when I speak that I could ever hurt you, babe. I'm not as funny as I think. I'm no joker, I'm just a fool. There's nothing I could say. You're already set in your ways. We've both been struggling these past few days, and I am holding on for goodness sake. It's bugging me that this became something that I'll regret truly. Now I'm looking like I don't know what it takes. You never thought that I could mend my mistake. Why do we kill us and fight? You cut me open and twisted your knife inside. What will I dig up and find? My heart is colder when my love for you dies. could say you're already set in your ways. We both been struggling these past few days, and I'm holding on for goodness sake. It's bugging me that this became something that I'll regret truly. Now I'm looking like I don't know what it takes. You never thought that I could mend my mistake. Why do we kill to survive? You cut me open and twisted your knife inside. What will I dig up and find? My heart is colder when my love for you dies. Why do we kill to survive? My heart is colder when my love for you dies. What will I dig up and find? My heart is cold when my heart is cold when my love for you dies. Why do we kill to survive?
Oasis route Kava bar is in Seagrape Square on Indiantown Rd, and it is a Kava bar. If you don't know anything about Kava, it's a Polynesian root that you grind up and you mix with water, and it has been in Polynesia for potentially thousands of years. It's an old thing that they used for kind of ceremonial and also sort of leisure purposes. It's meant to be something where, you know, that brings people together. You will take a shell of kava and chink them together and say bula and have it together like that. It's meant to be something to bring people together. It has a kind of an effect which is, I guess, a kind of a slightly warming effect, and it just kind of makes you feel nice. It's not particularly intoxicating. It's not like drinking alcohol. So the atmosphere in a kava bar is sort of like a cross between a regular bar and a coffee house. It's pretty chill in there. You get all sorts of different types of kava bars. Some of them are more like a club, you know, there's sort of like blacklight and EDM playing, and some of them are more like a cafe. This is one of the cafe type of ones. It's super chill in there. If you're looking for somewhere to, I don't know, maybe go and do some work on your laptop or go and have a chat with friends, it's perfect for that kind of thing. There's a foosball table in there if that's your jam, or baby foot as they call it in France. Yeah, Jim, the owner, is a really cool guy, and he has very kindly sponsored our podcast, so thank you very much for that, Jim. They also do a poker night in there, all sorts of things going on at Oasis Route. 561 Music is sponsored by Live Music Community. It's where we film the podcast that you're listening to right now, and it's also where I work. Gavin, Hector's son, was a student here for a long time, and in many ways he's the musician he is today because of the teachers at Live Music Community. We taught him not only about his instrument, but also about being in a band, and his band Unemployed Youth accomplished a lot of goals, mostly band etiquette, how to work together, and all of the nitty-gritty that goes into being in a band on a day-to-day basis. The student signs up for lessons, learns their instrument, joins a real band, and decides the direction it goes in. And we can take people from very young age, 6 or 7 years old, all the way up to 80. There's no age limit here. We run an adult program for people who want to be in a band as adults, but really the main focus is on the kids and getting them playing together and in bands. We are also a studio a live stream venue, we can record audio or video. The Killbillies live album, Warts and All, was recorded here. It was recorded during a live stream that we did during COVID. Justin had a great idea to record live streams during COVID. A ton of bands came in, and it was a real success. Outside of that, we can record albums, we can help you with your EPK, and we have full audio-visual capabilities here. LMC is in Palm Beach Gardens on the northwest corner of Military Trail and North Lake Boulevard. And if you go to livemusiccommunity.com, you have all the information you'll need right there.
All right, so we just heard an advertisement for Live Music Community. Live Music Community is where we are at now. It's where Ben, when he is here, is working. Mm-hmm. It's a music school, lessons, recording, all that sort of stuff. So this is a good time to ask you, do you have any advice for any upcoming musicians?
Try to figure out what you want to do very quickly, because after playing some music for a couple of years, you'll start to kind of try to balance what you want to do and what you feel like you should do. So that's like the whole thing. Is I kind of always knew I wanted to write songs or be a songwriter and do covers just for fun or to make a buck. And some people just want to be. They only want to play other people's songs. They don't give a shit about playing their own songs. And there are people that want to do originals and they never want to play covers. So figure out what you want and really like sink your teeth into that piece of meat as quickly as you can.
Why don't you give us a little rundown about what the stuff you played tonight was?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So the first song that I played was "Say You Won't Forget," and that was, I don't know, my kind of message to everybody of like my message to the audience in general, I guess, of like, don't let me fall into obscurity or wanting some sort of immortality. I'm very, very afraid of dying. Like, I'm very deeply afraid of my own mortality.
Sure.
So I have this weird need to not only be on all the time trying to entertain everybody constantly. I just have a weird sickness as an entertainer is what I like. What competitive sports are for Michael Jordan being competitive is I have like a sickness with that. So it's not only that, but the need to, I don't know, feel like all the stuff that I'm doing, especially musically or artistically, will still be maybe relevant in a conversation to somebody,
right?
Like years down after I'm gone,
Yeah.
Like if anybody's talking about my shit like a century or so, a century give or take after I'm dead, I will be so fucking happy.
The world won't be here in a century.
Yeah, maybe not. Yeah, you're right. I should have thought about that.
What about
either way? Even if it affects somebody right now, regardless, it's like. Yeah, damn. I forgot about the whole climate change thing.
Yeah. We'll all be dead. What about the second song?
Now I'm thinking about that. I don't know. Suddenly my music doesn't really...
It doesn't even matter anymore, man.
The second song?
Yeah. We're not dying today, man. It's fine.
Yeah,
we can talk about the second song.
Not in this building. They don't have that kind of insurance.
Right.
Damn, my childlike mindset was just a little more optimistic than that as well. Anyway, second one was called "Just a Fool," right? And is a song I wrote recent. It's the most recent song I wrote actually, with my now ex-girlfriend or whatever. I wrote it kind of about like kind of what it's literally. That song translates to me saying, "I'm so sorry that I." Say things trying to be funny when I'm just like an asshole. Kind of
right,
it's like
right.
That's like what that song is about. I'm trying to make a joke, but I forget. It's like one of those. Oh, I'm so caught up in trying to be funny that I forget what I say might affect people. Like I say, like some fucking.
You're just so used to the role of a jester.
Yeah.
And it's hard to be a regular person sometimes.
Yeah. My like humor is very like fucking gnarly. Like I would never say a lot of the stuff I find funny on this thing. So that
we've had to cut out about an hour and a half of this so far. So.
Oh, true.
And then,
well, I'm talking about stuff that's actually funny, though, guys.
Yeah. And your third song that you played. What was
the third song is the song that I actually released a music video for recently called "Kill to Survive," and that was the one I wrote back in 2016. And that song's about. The chorus is, why do we kill to survive? That translates to me. That says, don't you love when someone is stuttering what they're trying to say and doesn't actually get to the fucking point? It means, like, why do we hurt each other so much verbally, and why do we, especially people that we're close with, why do we,
right?
verbally attack each other and kind of especially in relationships like with the music videos, is just like a
Nice.
couple fighting, right? So it's a couple fighting. Eventually, like blood starts like hitting each other as they're like fighting verbally. No one's like actually physically doing anything,
Yeah,
but it's like how
yeah.
it feels.
Symbolic,
It's
yeah.
how it feels, right? So yeah, it's that was what a lot of that one was about for me. Is I've heard things from people that I was very close with at the time that like literally felt like someone stabbed me in the chest or something, you know, like and only people that I'm extremely close with can.
The people that
Can
are
get me
closest to us are
there.
the ones that can hurt us the
Yeah, but
most.
why is that? That's exactly what the song is. Why
Yeah.
do we treat the people that we're closest to? Why is that comfort? It's like that mix of
Because you trust them.
yeah, exactly. It's that comfort of like,
It's
I can
it's
say
the-
some shit.
It's the thing of unconditional love. If you know somebody's going to love you no matter what, you feel like a part of you can be able to hurt them, which is it's a real thing.
It's
but
so
it's
bizarre.
sick.
That is so bizarre, though.
But it's a
like-
real thing.
Yeah.
It's a psychological premise.
I call
But-
it
but-
psychological bullshit.
and we're so nice to total fucking
This is
strangers.
This is why I make fun of Hector, because I love him so
Because you
much,
love
and I
me.
know he'll never leave.
But
me.
as far as that, you got people that treat like their families and their loved ones and their close ones. I'm talking to like basically like half the population of Florida, South Florida, right here, that treat their like families and their loved ones like shit.
but
and
their
then they-
friends like their family.
Yeah, and then they go out to some random Publix or what, a grocery store, bar, restaurant, or whatever, and they treat the servers and this mask of like, oh, I'm a good person, but everyone that I'm close with, that's like supposed to be like, they're fucking horrible to them. And I don't understand
That's
it.
me. I'm just
I
terrible
don't
to everybody
understand.
equally.
No, you're not.
is
No,
that?
stop bullshit. These
What
guys
is
even
that?
know
they're,
him.
they're just saying that for like the laughs and the ha-has.
What do you have coming up? Any shows or releases or anything?
I mean, I play at least once or one or two Fridays a month. If you're ever on Atlantic Ave and it's a Friday night, just go to Atlantic Ave Yacht Club. You might find me and my band playing there.
You might
It's a
find
treat.
me.
It's a treat.
Who
Yeah,
knows?
or
You might
Ricky,
find
of
Holden.
course.
Yeah. You might find Holden. You might find Dominic.
Or any
We all play there.
of the wonderful, high quality musicians in South Florida. You'll either find one of us playing there, or I play just around the area. I've actually a house EP that I'm working on, house music EP. When I went to Europe recently, back in August, September, and I was listening to this guy Christian Loeffler a lot. Amazing, like just kind of chill or upbeat electronic vibe house music, and I really fell in love with it. And just random nights here or there, 1 or 2 a.m., having beer, staying up, kind of just hanging out. I was messing around with some beats on Logic and ended up liking them a lot more than I thought I would, and basically took them to JP again. And I still have to I'm budgeting right now on when I can get it mixed, but it's easier to mix electronic music. But it's like 4 songs, and I'm really excited with how some of them are turning out. 2 of them have like some voice and singing on it, and then 2 of them are instrumentals.
When is this record supposed to come out?
I have no clue. Whenever I can pay for it, I guess that was actually the biggest takeaway. From
Anything you need to?
This is coming out on Friday. More Better Bands playing at Grease Burger Bar in downtown West Palm. Come out and hang out with us. And I don't really have any. Go listen to the GDRB record, Brett Green.
Yeah. And I know I keep saying that we're gonna have some big news for the festival.
Well, the big announcement last week was that I was going to be on the show this week, so you're welcome.
So now there'll be another big announcement next week. I promise you guys it's
it
coming.
will actually be an announcement.
Yeah, I promise you guys it's coming, and you will be excited about it. So,
Don't
on
tell
that
me what
note,
to do.
thank you very much, guys.
See you.